everyone. Before starting, I, Pavan Dongare, contesting for the post of Joint Secretary MS Ph.D, would like to thank all the attendees and especially the organizers for making this event happen. Every mission starts with a vision. My vision is to represent NIT Trichy as top research institute in the country. First and foremost point I would like to consider is branding. Reason is we already have a lot of top journals published by our PhD scholars in SCI index journals, and we do have excellent lab facilities. Problem is outside of our college, people don't know about these facilities which are available in NIT. Another bigger problem is inside also our college undergraduates and postgraduates are not aware which all research projects are going inside our college. A common website, an exclusive website for research mentioning facilities and labs, list of publications, homepage for every research scholars should be implemented. This will have a dual benefit. One thing is for branding, and second thing is internal collaboration. Second, a most important thing I would like to talk about is placements. For PhD, usual perception is PhDs are willing to get into only academics, but that perception is changing. Many of the students joining NIT Trichy are of the age of 25 to 30 group. They are joining immediately after their MTechs, and they have the drive and desire to get into industry positions as well. It's high time to have a separate PR for PhD. Usually, very few students take up the responsibility of becoming a PR due to time constraint. Moreover, the problem is from the guide permission also. But this time, as we can see, we have got 3 students from PhD who have stood up for the post of council position. I am very optimistic about it. If we open a PR position, those 3 students and even more students will be able to take up this position. Moreover, PhD PR will not have to spend all of their days like UG or MTech PRs because they won't be approaching for entry-level positions. Only focus would be postdocs, industry research positions, and teaching positions. Coming to the placement of MS. MS students appear for placements usually along with their MTech classmates. And MTech PRs have always been extremely helpful for our placements. If anyone is listening to this presentation who is MTech PR, I would like to thank them wholeheartedly. In case of few core companies which do not recognize MS course, communication with MTech PRs and TNP will be done to ensure the awareness of MS course to all the companies visiting our campus. Eligibility. Usually in MS program, the eligibility is given by guide itself, and that eligibility is given after the completion of whole coursework. That unusually extends 1 year for some of the MS students. New formal rules have to be set up for when we can attend the placement. For PhD, a rule can be set up that after second seminar talk onwards, a PhD student can appear for placement till he is placed or till he is inside the campus. For MS, one conference paper or guide permission can be set up as eligibility, whichever comes earlier. Some of the changes to be brought out exclusively for MS rules and regulations I would like to mention. One thing is integrated MS and PhD. This rule is available at most of the colleges which are offering MS. Some of the MS students take up 3 years and want to continue the work under the same guide, but we don't have a provision to have a continued program, integrated program. This integrated program will save up years of the students, and it will be beneficial for institute as well. Contingency. We are allotted 20,000 contingency for conferences, and it was extended recently to workshops. But what about books and apparatus? MS students also need to have books and apparatus to produce quality research. For that, these money should be allotted to, this money should not be restricted to only conferences and workshops. It should be extended to be used for books and apparatus as well. Regarding curriculum, there is a rule stating 3 core and 2 elective subjects restriction for MS scholars, but that rule is not strictly followed at all the department. If it is not strictly followed at all the department and it is requirement, then it should be formalized that it is not a strict requirement. Direct study option should be introduced for MS scholars. Formal procedure to use equipment of other departments. Usually due to some departmental reasons, MS scholars and PhD scholars fail to use the other department's equipment for stipulated time. There should be a formal procedure which will set up how much time we can use it for after certain application. Other important details for all the research scholars I'll present right now. Reforms in guide selection. Guide selection procedure right now is happening very random. Like within first 2 weeks, we approach each and every guide, then some of them select us, then we select some of them, and that preference, it's very random procedure basically. And the problem is, once we are matched with the wrong guide, for MS students for 2 to 3 years, the person is with that person and the guide is stuck with the student, and for PhD, it goes on for 5 years. My suggestion is to have this guide selection deadline extended till 1 semester. So by the end of the semester, every student will have a good interaction with guides, guides will have good interaction with students, so there will be a better matching and good productive environment. Research scholar grievance cell. If in spite of guide selection reformation, there are some issues people want to report about the authorities or guides or any other harassment faced by any other anyone inside campus, then for research scholars there has to be exclusive grievance cell. That cell will keep the anonymity, that will keep the name of the person secret and try to resolve this issue with sensitivity. Separate desk and computer system for every research scholar taking into admission, as it is already in rule, but if it's not followed, we'll make sure it is followed. Bridge the gap between UG, PG and research scholars in club inductions, events and information by introducing a common information portal. Usually this is done by NITT calendar notice board, but that is also posted with a lot of extra things like bike and cycle lost and all that. So if there is a common website mentioning which all on upcoming events are there, websites are there, it will be easier for research scholars to know about them. The usual response I get why they are not participating, that usual response is they are unaware of the upcoming events. So this common website will explain everything happening inside campus organized by students. Departmental libraries will be made functional. Right now we have departmental libraries, but most of that time they are closed. Research induction workshop for new admissions. Documentation techniques and plotting representation software can be explained in the first semester itself, so that our research productivity will start increasing right from the first semester rather than getting acquainted to it for 1 semester. A common place for research scholars to be introduced for interdepartmental meetings and collaborations. There are few other points I would like to talk about is HRA and bike permission, like ensuring those who are staying inside campus don't pay money beyond certain limit, and those who are staying outside campus will get the HRA which is as directed by MHRD. Wi-Fi connection for scholars staying inside quarters. This can be implemented by using an additional extra fee just to ensure that everyone gets a Wi-Fi connection at quarters as well, just the way we get it at hostel. Girls student hostel deadline. For that, I would like to propose a solution that the deadline should be gradually increased. Let's say half an hour for increase the increment this year, then half an hour next year, so on. The benefit of this solution is that eventually everyone inside the campus will adapt to the situation. If there are any problems, the people will come up with solutions eventually without having an outrage or without taking huge risks. All the agenda I have presented is not individual opinion, but collective voice of many research scholars I personally met. Having my academic and research requirement nearing to completion, having worked in different roles requiring communication with authorities, I am left with ample of time and skills to become voice of research scholars. Voice which does justice to the post and work wholeheartedly for the best outcome of everyone. Thank you.